Well, hello everyone. I am Matt Williamson. How's everyone doing this fine day? Happy New Year. I am recording this on January 1st. And this is going to be our game preview for Steelers-Bengals. Important game, especially for the Bengals. Obviously, this is a loser-leave title match for them. Steelers will know if the Ravens won. They probably will have at this point. Who's to say? But I like their chances of beating the Browns as a 17.5-point favorite. But I also think the Steelers want to win this game and avoid the 6th seed, where they would go back to Baltimore, which doesn't sound great. And I also think you want to win this game to get some momentum. So this is going to be my game preview. As usual, special teams is in favor of the Steelers. The other fringe stuff isn't super strong in that direction. But I do think overall, I do trust the Steelers to win in the margins more so than I do the Bengals, certainly with turnovers as well as special team stuff. No doubt. I mean, the Steelers are the best in the league in that combination. Let's start with the Steelers having the ball, because the other side's a lot more complex, to be honest with you. I think, and maybe you came away the same after Steelers-Bengals round 1, that possibly could be the worst defense in the league, Cincinnati. And it looks a little better during this win streak, and maybe they're playing a little better. Maybe it's not the worst in the league, but it's still a bottom 5, bottom 6 group. And I've said this a bunch in studying them. I think they're going to be in the market for 7 new defensive starters this offseason. They're going to cut some of their older guys. They're going to make cap space. They're going to go replenish that entire side of the ball, which is probably why they can't resign T. Higgins. And that's huge. Now, what has been better for them since these teams met is splash plays. They've gotten more sacks. They sacked the Browns 6 times, and they've taken the ball away. So I think that's a key. No negatives. Don't throw them one. Yeah, Hendrickson might get a sack. They might get a sack here and there, of course. But don't allow Bengal splash plays. I assume that they will change their approach, but who's to say? Their personnel isn't great. But if you remember, boy, the Steelers completed a lot of easy, short, middle-of-the-field throws to running backs in the first matchup. And we also know Freiermuth has torn this team up too. So middle-of-the-field passing, short to intermediate, is going to be really important and probably there for the taking. I don't think this defensive front can really push the pocket enough to influence Wilson and his lack of height in a really, really negative manner. So I think the Steelers should be able to do that well. And they showed it the first time around. I also think Pickens could be in for a giant game. They don't have any kind of answer. He's, a phenomenal talent. And overall, I do think, because I don't want to forget this kind of peripheral point, that the 10 days off or whatever it was since the last game is a major, massively needed by the Steeler team after that 3-game stretch. And I think you'll see it pay off with the explosiveness of the run game, the O-line playing a little better, Wilson looking a little sharper, Pickens being on the top of his game. And a lot of that's because the Bengals defense flat out stinks, to be honest with you. It's pretty darn bad. So I do think the Steelers will put points up. And I think in both phases, run and pass, they should be successful. I'm not saying they're going to be Dan Fouts' Chargers or the greatest show on turf, but I do think it'll be a way better performance than what we've seen over the last 3 weeks. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today and get on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Another spot that I think rest will greatly help the Steelers, Watt, Hayward, not that Hayward's been playing bad or anything, is the defensive front. I don't know when I'm recording this if Amarius Mims is going to be there at right tackle, but the backup is a real problem for them. I mean, it's a guy I'd never heard of. Their guard play has been bad, especially at left guard where Hayward lines up. Highsmith, I think, is a better football player than Orlando Brown. I really think run and pass, the Steelers have noticeable advantages that will show up in the trenches when Cincy has the ball. I would be shocked if that's not the case. A little bit fresher, deep rotation, get Herbig back involved, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's a huge advantage. Now, I think this is extremely interesting. The Bengals have used, it's not a high percentage, but it's the highest percentage in the league of offensive snaps without a running back on the field. They also, since Zach Moss got hurt, if you play fantasy football, you're aware of this, that Chase Brown got like every running back touch in a real anomaly for the NFL. I mean, like his running back touch share is through the roof. It's like 90%. And I don't think there's any chance he plays in this game. So where I'm going with this is maybe they don't even hide it. You know, like maybe they don't have a running back on the field all that much at all and just say, hey, Joe, in a game we have to have, we're going to throw it over and over and over. You know, 3 receivers, Gesicki, and a blocking tight end on the field to help Chip Watt. You know, something like that. And I'd understand it. I mean, like, I'm not saying they'll have 0 rushing attempts or their running backs won't touch the ball. Of course. Khalil Herbert's a good ball carrier. He's going to be the de facto next man up as the ball carrier. But he's not good in protection. Know that. He's a shorter arm, stubby guy that kind of has a problems with protection, which is why he's not a Bear anymore and why they drafted over him. And Travion Williams is a third down back, and he's a nondescript player. Let's just say that. So in a game you have to have, and this is what, I mean, they're the second highest throw percentage in the league anyway. It might get ungodly numbers, you know, like 55 pass attempts by Burrow. I'm just throwing, like we're not even hiding it. Okay. Plus, how do the Steelers combat that? Does that mean you got to play a lot of dime? Well, I don't have 6 defensive backs on the tip of my tongue that I'm super happy playing in the game. And does that mean Wilson, Roberts, those type of guys, Benton aren't on the field? If I'm the Bengals, I'm like, I'll roll my dice with that. I'll take my chances. I like that approach. Now, we talked about this before. He's the best in the league. Mahomes was unbelievable in this past game at the quick game stuff. All the 2.5 and under, you know, and the Steelers really struggle in that regard. They've allowed a lot of yardage. And that's how everyone's attacked them all year. You know, when you guys were asking me about why is Watt's numbers down as pass rusher, because the ball comes out really quick, of course, you know, and that's really going to be the case. They will take shots. There's no doubt. I mean, but the ball is going to go to Chase. He's the best in the league after the catch. He'll get it at all levels, but they'll get him in space or in, you know, hit him in stride, and Burrow's the best at it. Burrow's also great at buying time, maneuvering the pocket, all those quarterbacky things. And Higgins is great at everything too, but he's more your shot guy. He's your go up and get it, more the sideline dude, but they're going to get the ball a ton. And I think I told you before, under this regime, they've been a really high 11 personnel with 3 receivers on the field, you know, outfit. And really, Mike Gesicki is really their Tyler Boyd. He's a couple inches taller and a couple pounds heavier, but he's now their slot receiver. If you call him a tight end, then this team isn't in 11 very much. But if you call him a wide out, which he really is, then they're back to being a very heavy 11 team. So those 3 are the guys are the ones that get the targets. And I think there's going to be a ton of targets to go around. And frankly, I don't think the Steelers secondary is very well equipped to deal with it. Now they have to tackle the catch. You have to make these long drives be death by 1,000 paper cuts. They'll mix in Yoshivas, who's an okay young player. But it's all about Burrow, and it's all about Chase, and it's all about Higgins, and that's frightening as could be. But you also are going to have to hit them. You're going to have to bat down a pass here and there. They're going to have to take a hold once in a while. Maybe the ball comes out after the catch. Steelers are great they're very opportunistic. And in the end, I have the Steelers winning this game. I know that they're underdogs, but I have them winning 27-26. By no means do I think they'll stop Burrow, but I think that they can keep them under 30, keep them under 35 in that neighborhood. I don't fear their run game hardly at all. And I do think Russ, Pickens, the run game, running back receptions, Freiermuth can get you to 27 against a pretty bad defense. And if you get a special teams advantage in there, and Steelers are 8-1 in home games on Saturday, that's the best since the Super Bowl era. If you care about things like that, but home game, standalone, long week, those just seem like Tomlin wins to me. All right, everyone. Happy New Year once again. Take care.